How are we doing, guys? It is Ross here, and welcome to the first ever 1% Daily podcast. Sounded a bit American then when I was doing and welcome to the first ever. Yes, so my name is Ross Cooney, and this is my podcast. It's kind of been a long time coming, and I'm going to get into a little bit today about the name of the podcast, who I am. But first of all, I want to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope you are truly and genuinely having a good day. Okay, wherever you are in the world, what you're up to. Let me know. Share on social networks. I will post all the handles on here for Instagram and Facebook and all the good stuff, because I'm genuinely interested in finding about who you are, what you're up to, and where in the world you're listening. And what's your response to the podcast today? So, if you are unaware of who I am, my name is Ross Cooney. I am a performance consultant. But this podcast is not about me sort of selling you the performance consultancy side. It's just about really sharing my insights to life, really. There's going to be some interesting tips and stuff you can take away that I do share with my clients, but it's going to be really my approach and what works for me, and hopefully you can take away some good stuff to help you in whatever you do every day. I'm all about improving, marked improvement. Any improvement's good improvement, and that kind of sort of dovetails nicely into what the podcast name is all about. 1% Daily. And this comes from a few sort of different conversations I've been having with people. And a good friend of mine, Liam Swift, he was telling me about this thing called the Kaizen approach, which is essentially what the 1% Daily sort of theory is based around. And basically, Kaizen means to continuously improve. And it's something that the Japanese did, and I think they used it during World War II, and it was basically showing that you take small steps. So are you taking small steps daily to improve? Are you taking small sort of actionables every day to make yourself better in whatever you're doing? So that might be life, that might be life, that might be everything life. That might be your career, your job, your work, your school. It might be your relationships with your husband, your wife, your kids, your next door neighbor. We'll get into all the kind of dimensions of life that I've sort of base my teachings and my practices around. But today, really, I just want to get into a bit about who I am and a little bit about my story and why it might be relevant to you. And a lot of it might not be relevant to you, but hopefully you'll be able to take some good stuff away from this. And if not, pass on to somebody else. But if you like it, also share it on someone else as well. That would be quite good. So, who am I? Ross Cooney. I seem to be asked this question a lot recently. First and foremost, a parent. I've got two beautiful young children, Bear and Aria, and a beautiful wife, Sarah. And I think without one, there are not the others. So I sort of owe a lot of credit to who I am, what I'm about, to my beautiful wife, Sarah. I will get her on the podcast. I will do a talk just on her, because I've not got enough time to start to talk about her today and try and get some other stuff in about who I am and what this is about, because this is the 1% Daily podcast. Now, you might not know this, but 1% of your day is the equivalent of 14 minutes and 40 seconds. So you can guess how long this podcast is going to be. 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Every day I'm going to try and post. So this is a bit of an experiment, but I'm going to post every day, at least for the next 7 days anyway. 14 minutes and 40 seconds worth of content, and each day will have a different theme and a different idea, and I'm going to kind of break the podcast down into a bit of an intro, a hello, a what's up, sort of like what's going on with me currently at this time, and then I'll break into some knowledge and some stuff to share with you for that day, and it's going to finish with a bit of a challenge, some stuff where you can go away and actually put into play, some actionables, some steps to take away to improve yourself or work something out. So the 1% Daily. And again, this came from a conversation with my friend Liam. He was talking about how, Ross, you're always talking about working yourself, you're always looking to improve other people, you're engaging with people. How are you aware of the Kaizen approach? And I looked into it. The 1% Daily is brilliant, because the great thing about the 1% is it's easy. It's not intimidating. There's a really good article I read on Medium, and I'll post a link to that in the show notes to go with this. And you can get a really good understanding of what the Kaizen approach is. But it just kind of fitted with who I am and what I'm about, because when it comes to clients that I work with, when it comes to business that I work with, People always look at the big goals and they just see them as too big, something they can't get their heads around and they can't start to work towards. So the great thing about the 1% is, are you doing something today which makes your life tomorrow a little bit better? And if you're working on 1%, that's perfect. So are you able to find 14 minutes and 40 seconds on a daily basis to work on yourself and improve your situation? So that's what the 1% Daily podcast is. I'm going to be covering lots of stuff, okay? In my line of work and the sort of what I do and work with people, I base my works around sort of 6 life dimensions. So you've got health and fitness, career, psychological well-being, family and community, psychological well-being, and self-actualization. I think I mentioned them all there. Career, wealth, family, psychological well-being, self-actualization, and did I mention them all? I'm sure I got 6 in there. Okay, so yeah, I based all my work around those 6 dimensions. But what happens with those 6 dimensions is people then come up with their own definitions of success. And success is very unique to every single person. And if you're honest with yourself about what success looks like, it doesn't really matter what other people think. So maybe if you're in your car, or you're out walking, or you're listening to this while you're on your bike or something, you can define what success looks like for you, and nobody else, me, nor anybody, can pass any judgment as long as you're authentic to yourself. And that's kind of what got this whole podcasting going. I've been influenced by some great podcasts in the past. Rich Roll really sort of got me into the place of wanting to produce content and improve myself, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a second about my journey. But yeah, if you listen to other podcasts, I'm looking to try and recreate some stuff that can help people just a little bit every day. So every day you can tune in, you can listen to what I've got to say, and then you can take it, run with it, share it, or ignore it, okay? But I'm going to be honest and authentic with you 100%. So that's the deal from my end, and hopefully you can be as positive on the other end, and yeah, get involved in sharing all the good stuff back to me. So, who is Ross? Like I said, husband, father to 2 beautiful kids. Bear is 4 and Aria is 2. Bear, yeah, that's his name. Bear, as in teddy bear. That's a good one. I'll tell you a story about his name in a bit. Aria is our beautiful daughter. She's 2. She's also 2. She's 2. So yeah, that's who I am. I was a teacher for 12 years. I've been ridiculously active and sort of out there my entire life, always looking to try and find out what I'm capable of. Spent time with the Royal Marines as a reservist, passed that 4 years ago, so I was quite old and actually passed my my Royal Marines Commando test. Still involved with that, although not as much as I would like to be, but looking to change that this year due to sort of like just personal circumstances, life getting in the way. And I will get into all that, and you'll find out as this sort of journey goes through with these podcasts what I'm about. So let's take it back. Teacher for 12 years. Ran health and fitness business during that time as well. Personal trainer, things like that. The only reason I really got anywhere in life, to be honest, is I played sport. You know, sport was my thing. I took up basketball at about the age of 15 or 16, and that was it. No looking back. I played basketball, and that's the reason I went to university. I got a basketball scholarship to go to Worcester University. Went on to captain the team there. We won Booster National Trophy, National Finals, National Championships. Kind of played like semi-pro, technically semi-pro. The only thing that ever got me anywhere was the fact that I would work harder on the court than most people. So I couldn't necessarily shoot very well, but I could play really, really good defense and run the fast break. If you know anything about basketball, that's kind of enough to get you by. So that was the reason I made teams. As a result of basketball, I had a small sort of like blip where I say blip, it's not a bad way, but I had a little moment where I left and joined the Royal Marines as an officer, started training, left training, back into teaching, did my PGCE, met Sarah, my wife, through basketball. So again, that basketball theme. Took my first job as a teacher at a school off the back of, it was Sarah's mum, worked at the school that I worked at. Again, without basketball, that wouldn't have happened. Worked for 12 years and gave it all up to run my own business, then went back to teaching, did the safe thing. Needed to get a mortgage for our house. And sorry, I'm just sharing all this so you can kind of get a bit of context about who I am and what I'm about, because I want to be able to share as much stuff with you so you can understand where I'm coming from with regards to this 1% daily, and to let you know that I've not got it sorted, and it took me 32 years to kind of understand that I needed to get it sorted. So where were we? We were talking about, got to 32. So Bear, my eldest, is born. Little story on the name. My wife and I were in bed and we were trying to work out, could we call our child Bear? All my family are Scottish. Sarah was keen on Scottish names. I love that. So looking through, not sure if we're going to have a boy or girl, and I said, do you think we could call our son Bear? And she was like, oh, I think we could. I totally thought she was going to veto it, kick it out of the park, but actually she said she thought we could. So when we had a baby boy, it was going to be Bear. And Sarah's mum, beautiful person, she's really good. Her and Sarah's sister wanted to know what we'd called our little boy. Rocked up to the hospital, been there about 20 minutes, loving the baby and the whole situation. And they're like, oh, what have you called him? And I said, obviously, Sarah, you can explain. So Sarah said, Bear Anderson Cooney. And we live in Doncaster, South Yorkshire. And Sarah's mom, Des, just turned and kind of went, oh, Bear. Right, okay. And I wish I'd videoed it, because she didn't give the kind of response that you thought would be really, really sort of, yeah, that's a beautiful name. She kind of gave the whole, really? You called your kid Bear? But now she wouldn't change it. She would definitely not think he was called anything else but Bear. So yeah, we had Bear. I came to this sort of point in my life and I realised, you know what? I need to get my shit together. I'd kind of lived the life of a triathlete, competed at 3 world championships for my age category whilst teaching, perfect life. I had a beautiful wife. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. We were doing lots of cool stuff, but not really taking any responsibility. And this is kind of where I got to finding out about myself. What was I capable of? What stuff could I do every day to improve myself? And I've not really worked on it. I just kind of half-assed it and had sort of ad hoc along the way. And Bear was born and I was like, holy shit, I need to take responsibility. So the first thing I did was address what I was eating. So alongside all the stuff that I've been able to achieve and do in my life, the biggest thing for me was actually I became plant-based, became vegan, probably about 4.5 years ago. And if you knew what I was like before, and we'll get into this in another podcast about food and my sort of vegan and plant-based diet. If you knew what I was like before, I'm now the polar opposite of that. Fully vegan, fully plant-based, but I was Mr. Mixed Grill before, so I understand the process, the small things to change. And like I said, we'll get into that in another podcast, because that is definitely a Kaizen approach, the 1% every day. So yeah, took a job, thought I was doing the right thing for my family, came home one Christmas and said to my wife, we'd had Bear, was thinking of having another child, just moved into a new house, it was Christmas, and I came home and said, Sarah, I think I need to quit my job. And she swore at me, threw some stuff at me, and then realised that I needed to actually get my shit together ASAP, really quick, because if I didn't, I was going to get sick, I was going to stay in a job I didn't want to do, and I suddenly had that moment where I was like, I need to cut and run here. So I handed my notice in, and then Kaizen and this 1% daily really kicked in for me. And the first thing I did was actually start to get up early. So this leads me nicely into the challenge for you guys. And I'm sorry it's been a bit rushed, but 14 minutes and 40 seconds, that's what it's going to be. So your challenge before tomorrow, okay, because these are going to come out daily, is to carve out 1% of your day. 14 minutes and 40 seconds where you're going to put yourself first. You're going to work on improving yourself. You're going to read a book, you're going to go for a walk, you're going to meditate, you're going to exercise, you're going to do something. But I want you to find out a place in your daily routine where you can find 1%, 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Because if you can't find 1% of your day to apply to yourself and what you want to get out of life, you're going to struggle. You're going to come to a point where something's going to give. And in society, it'll be you that gives, you'll get sick, you'll break. And if you've got responsibilities like family, they're going to suffer. And that's not to make you feel bad, but they will suffer. So your challenge today is to find, or start to think about, when can I fit in 14 minutes and 40 seconds into my daily routine? Okay, when is that? We've got 20 seconds left of this broadcast. So I want to leave you with this. Life is one big game. Make sure you play it your way and maximize your potential. That's going to be my little sign off at the end of every day. Okay, that's going to be my little thing for you. So I will see you all tomorrow where we start to get dimension specific. See you later, guys. Bye bye.